Welcome back. The ironies are glaring. Newark, the state's largest city, so financially strapped it's had to lay off more than 150 officers in the last year, yet a city consistently rated among the nation's highest in crime. A city whose African-American mayor gains national attention as an outspoken advocate for his city, but sits quietly on the sidelines in the face of complaints made by minority officers whose legal actions are costing his city millions. His kids love watching him on TV, and fellow officers get a kick too. Newark Police Detective Rasheen Peppers, on loan to the U.S. Marshal's Office, stars in A&E Network's hit show Manhunters. The irony, according to Peppers, is that the NPD seems to be hunting him. Peppers and 4 other black officers filed suit last year, citing discrimination, harassment, and other claims. They say in March of '09, while they were guests at a Prudential Center concert, they were detained and suspended in violation of department policy for storing their service weapons in a U.S. Marshal's car instead of a Newark police command post. In their lawsuit, they compare their case with a scenario a month before where 4 white officers were off duty, working security, at an event at the Robert Treat Hotel without state-required work permits. Permits like this one, which police must have or be in violation of state law. Small potatoes to a civilian, but serious violations inside the department's Office of Professional Standards and Internal Affairs, which investigates such matters. Yet, in their lawsuit, black officers say while they were disciplined harshly, the white officers weren't disciplined at all, and that when they complained about it, they were transferred and demoted. They call it retaliation, a word that echoes in complaints by dozens of minority officers, an echo that grew so loud last year that the Newark City Council created an ad hoc committee to investigate racial disparity.
We started investigating because it just kept coming. It just kept coming. It just kept coming. I said, well, we got to look into this.
6 months in, they found out plenty.
What we learned more importantly, though, was what we could not find out. And that's disturbing.
Rice says under state law, the council oversees the department, but it has limited authority to pry into personnel and disciplinary files and cannot legally compel officers to testify.
I had a situation where I subpoenaed 2 officers to speak, and their unions actually stopped them from testifying.
Councilman Rice says he took his complaint to the Office of the State Attorney General, which referred him back to Newark's Corporate Counsel, the same agency that defends the city and its departments in lawsuits, which he says protects the Newark PD from council intrusion. And with that, Rice says, the racial disparity investigation fizzled.
That's wrong.
That's just nonsense, and it's deceptive, and it's a public fraud.
Author and former NPD Lieutenant Samuel Clark capsulizes the widespread skepticism expressed by officers over any political fix. They blame ongoing racial disparity and corruption on a succession of police directors.
This is a problem. So if you have corruption at the very top, how's it going to be solved?
Internal affairs, professional standards, that is how they control everything. That office is under the auspices or under direct command of the police director. So the head of the department must know what's going on there.
Between former police director Gary McCarthy and current police director Sam DeMayo, the department never accommodated our requests for an on-camera interview on this issue, despite assurances that they would.
The same policy has occurred.
Former Newark police officer John Jewell, who publicly lobbied the city council on the disparity in punishment issue, says he personally confronted Newark Mayor Cory Booker about it 3 times.
And he just got flustered and said, well, if you feel that way, then just sue us. You know, and I was shocked.
Newark taxpayers might be shocked to see what it's costing them as those aggrieved officers take their cases to court. City records show that from January of '08 through July of this year, the city lost 2 huge jury verdicts, a retaliation suit in June by former officer Jose Montalvo for $987,000, and another in 2010, losing a 14-year battle to former officer Darren Nance for $600,000. Add in settlements, cases that never went to trial, attorney's fees for officers and for the city, and the running price tag, well over $4 million, with substantial costs still undetermined and cases still in the courts.
With that money, you could have kept a lot of those officers that were laid off.
Others, either fired or punished into silence, say they welcome the U.S. Attorney and the FBI now stepping in.
It's too much stench. The stench is rising, and now they can't get rid of it.
Well, you may be wondering why you've heard no on-camera response to any of this from the city. Over the past year and a half, we attempted to interview Mayor Cory Booker, former Police Director Gary McCarthy, and current Director Samuel DeMeo, and tried to get responses from the city's lawyers, former Newark Corporate Counsel Julian Niels and current Corporate Counsel Anna Pereira. None of them would comment on this story until last Friday when we announced we were going to air. Now, before the program was seen, we emphasize before the program was seen by anyone outside News 12, we received the following statement from the Newark Office of Communications. It reads, "We feel that this News 12 report by Brian Jenkins is deeply biased and presents conclusions that are not supported by the facts. After a thorough internal audit of the 3 areas in the disciplinary process, records prove that initiations of investigations and complaints against personnel were equal among the racial makeup of the department. In the area of penalties received, minorities were found to be receiving more serious penalties than their white counterparts. In light of this, the administration has taken significant steps to ensure racial equality among the men and women of our department. Specifically, under the leadership of the Police Director Samuel DeMeo, we have reevaluated our disciplinary process to ensure that disciplinary charges are enforced equally among all officers, regardless of race or sex. We have also enacted a policy which mandates that there be a consistent department representative, a deputy chief, present at all trials, and are confident that these changes will reflect a significant decrease in disparate discipline. We are proud of the diversity in our police department and will not waver in our commitment to equal treatment among the men and women who serve our city." In addition to the statement, the police department sent us 4 pages of colored grids they called an audit, which contain plenty of numbers but no explanation of what they mean or what conclusions the audit arrived at. We'll leave you to draw your own conclusions. Meantime, just last week, the city entered into yet another discrimination settlement with another black officer, while others